She's just finished that pool. Why don't we get on and talk to her?
Okay.
They told us there was a good pool just above the bridge where you were fishing. Are there some other pools close by just above?
Yes, there's several. There's 3 or 4 up there, but there's lots of fish in that pool I just left.
What kind of flies should we be using?
Well, let me show you some of the flies we use in the river. That's a red-bodied black squirrel-tail fly. And the Costa-boom. And the black bomber.
They're good looking.
Let me give you this Costa-boom that may bring you luck. It's a good fly. It's my favorite.
Oh, thank you. Would you take a Lady Joan and try it?
Yes, a nice-looking pattern.
What about dry flies? My own feeling has been that dry flies don't work too well on these dark rivers.
That's true. We don't use dry flies in this river very much. We do occasionally, but in the month of August, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
How long is your season?
Oh, we have a long season here in Nova Scotia. We can start St. Mary's in May and fish some of the rivers in the province all summer and end up in the Marguerite in late fall.
You're lucky to live here.
We're very fortunate in Nova Scotia, I think. And
well, we're going to try that pool and see if we can catch fish with
well, best of luck to
one
you.
of the flies we have.
Best of luck to you.
Thank you. The Atlantic salmon, returning to their rivers from the great mother of all life, the sea, bring to anglers a strength and speed no landlocked fish ever attain. The anglers, wading the rivers and feeling its flow, become a part of the rivers too, as they cast their flies of 1,000 colorful designs to the spots where they think the salmon will lie. Each fly is a dream designed to tempt a reluctant fish. Each cast a hope that a salmon will respond.
Wow.
And when he does, the angler must be ready for the salmon's swift and sudden rushes, and the wild leap when they come, lest his fine leader be broken or his small hook torn from its tenuous hold. The Atlantic salmon leaps and runs like no other fish of our continent's rivers. He calls for the finest tackle and the greatest of angling skill. The angler must anticipate the runs and leaps, the twists and turns, and, with skillful pressures, let the wild fish spend his strength. When he tires and the time comes to secure him for release, some anglers use a hand grip on the tail, while others feel that with a small salmon like this one, the tail is just not stiff enough to hold. These are delicate maneuverings. The fish must be under complete control and brought smoothly within reach of the fisherman's hand.
Gotcha. Beautiful.
The tail is bending. Will it hold? A better grip. And then a moment of admiration before the hook is removed to give the fish his freedom. What does your wife do when she catches the first salmon at the trip? She shows she's happy and proud and ready to tell you what fly she used and just how she made it swim. And you fish a little harder than before, endeavoring to make each cast a perfect one. You seek out the spots where long experience tells you the salmon should be lying. Then you start changing flies and tie on a black-winged number 6 with a body of apple green and silver and a touch of white at the throat, called a Coleman's Choice. Each fly has a special charm to which one hopes the salmon will respond. It's time to try a surface stonefly, a personal pattern I'm sure no other angler has presented to these fish, one which, simply because of its novelty, may bring a rise. Next, a blue charm, an old favorite which for generations has brought salmon to the steel. Back to the beginning again, a Lady Joan, the fly on which Joan caught her fish, a fantasy of white-tipped black, burnt orange, bright yellow, and gold. A fly that a salmon in one pool has refused, another may be eager to take. Each cast must go out to straighten perfectly. Each fly must swim back in a smooth and easy curve. Suddenly, the waiting is over, and your salmon is there at the end of your line. Even after thousands of salmon, the old thrill comes again, the never-ending challenge, the contest between a strong fish and the most delicate tackle. A 6-foot rod of graphite fibers, a long nylon leader tapered to a 4-pound point, a reel that sings the song of a salmon's speed and strength. Each salmon adds a page to a long, long book. Angling movements that are patterned by practice, reflexes that follow this fish's special moves, yet never is the outcome sure, the winning certain, till that final moment of capture. As long as the fish is free to move and able to draw on his reserve of strength, he holds the bright hope of freedom, and the angler a fear of failure. A grip which puts a finger and thumb into the depressions just behind the forward fins will hold securely a salmon up to 7 pounds. Those are the smaller salmon, with tails that may not be stiff enough to hold by hand. Another salmon for the memory book. When the clouds build up and the raindrops start to fall, the salmon are delighted by the promise of a rising river. Low water exposes them to their enemies, for they are large in size for these rivers of their birth. As the rains course down the tributary streams to deepen the main flows, the salmon feel the pull of the headwaters and the shallow spawning redds that they can reach only in the floods of fall. They feel renewed in spirit and are much more likely to take a fly when the rivers crowd their banks than when they run low and stale in the heat of summer. The anglers, too, rejoice at this last chance of the season to hook a bolt of silver lightning on a fly. When the fog creeps in on little cat's feet, there are those who say a salmon will not rise to take a fly. But who would miss the pleasure of casting on a misty river when the rain has given it new life? And those who say a salmon will not do this or that will always find some wayward salmon to prove that they are wrong. Fish on.
Oh.
A salmon leaping in the fog, first here, then there. A reel that sings to his speed. A friendly river in a quiet valley. A fish, a scene to remember. This Nova Scotia salmon, like the others, will give more than an angling memory. It's a fish that will surge on upstream to her point of destiny, where, with a male of her own choosing, she will lay thousands of eggs that will, in turn, bring back replicas of her own bright energy to this, her homing river. While I was working my way on downstream, fishing all the likely water, Joan found a knowing local angler and came out of the meeting with a pair of beautiful salmon flies, time-tested on the river and guaranteed to be effective under the conditions of that day and that day's river level. She learned, too, of a pool not far away where a school of salmon would be lying, just waiting for flies like those to come along. I cast and cast without response. But Joan found magic in the gift flies. Her fish explored the far reaches of the pool, seeking a way to escape the force that was threatening his freedom. From the long run, she brought him back with gentle pressure. A long rod can be awkward when it comes to bringing a fish close in to be taken by hand. Again, Joan tries for the difficult tail grip. But the tail compresses and the fish slides out. When a salmon dives between your legs, there's only one thing to do. Once touched by an angler, a salmon finds new strength to resist. And then it is much harder to bring him in close. This time, he's truly spent, and Joan uses the simplest releasing method of all, never really lifting the salmon from the water. She frees the hook and watches him swim away.
That was fun.
Then she tells me she'll give me one of those special flies her new friend gave her.
It's been a great trip. I'm sorry it's over.
So am I. I don't remember raising as many fish in one day as I did yesterday.
We never did get any of those big fish, those 20-pounders.
That's a good reason to come back.
Right. Maybe we can get a 25-pounder like Reg got the other day.